cat's pretty mobile, so we need to do something to prevent this footbed from moving side to side, especially on weight bearing. So we're going to go ahead and add that AutoPost. So in preparation for adhering my AutoPost, I'm going to make a small dot right in the center of our little white egg, and that's going to help me center up the AutoPost. This is going to be really hot and floppy and glossy. Right now it's hard. The idea is we're going to attach this dead center around that dot, and we can orient this any way we want. I'm going to orient it pointing off toward the fifth metatarsal side, like so. And because it's hot and floppy, this particular material is also compressible. We can press it straight down into a flat surface and produce a flat spot without having to use a grinder. So it's really an interesting material. So it's an auto adhesive, and it's also compressible to where we can produce a flat rear foot post. So pretty interesting stuff. I'm going to use this Teflon patch. This is essentially our non-stick backing for this. So I'm going to set it here and use a heat gun, though there's lots of ways we might heat these with the Masterfit griddler unit or with the new platen heating system. This usually takes about a minute. You can notice it's getting a little darker in color. It'll start appearing glossy. I keep the heat gun about 1 inch to 1.5 inches away. Keep this moving. If it starts to bubble or blister, I back off a little bit. Starts to wrinkle a little bit. When you see some slight wrinkling occurring, that's a good time to check and see whether it's hot enough. And what I'm looking for is I want this to curl and curve with the Teflon as I pick it up and test that. So that looks pretty good. Now, I might check it with a heat gun. It says 200, 210, 206. For it to be really ready to rock and roll, it's got to be about 240. I've been kind of paying attention to this, and if it's 230 to 250 or so, it's nice and malleable. It's real sticky. You've got a little bit of working time. So we're at 245, 248. We're going to call that good. Okay, so here's our target. I'm going to set this down. This will stick to the Teflon just enough for me to lay it into place. Again, I'm going to turn this to point towards the fifth metatarsal head. You can see that's how it's oriented. So now I'm going to just sort of gently slide my thumb over this. Now I might tug this material down, just seat the edge just a little bit. Use the material to pull it down so that I don't get big ugly wrinkles in it. But I'm going to firmly use my thumb to kind of smash that AutoPost onto the blank, and then I might run my thumb or forefinger around the inside of that, and at this point I need to press this down flat, and I'm going to push straight down on the heel, and even maybe just a little bit to the lateral or little toe side of the heel. This is where, just like grinding a footbed, you could make a mistake and cause the footbed to tip in or out dramatically and alter the nice neutral shape that you produced. So I'm just pressing that down. I'm running my finger or thumb out towards the fifth met head along that lateral arch side, because that's the direction the AutoPost is headed. I'm going to press that in. So if you look at that, it's produced a nice flat spot all the way along that oval. It's going to stabilize that insole. While it's still warm, I might use the edge of my thumb just to kind of bevel or press down the edge of that AutoPost. I might give it another press just to make sure. And then while it's still warm, if you peel that off quickly, you can use your thumb to smooth out any cosmetic blemishes. Sometimes there's some funky little wrinkles that may be produced. So you can use your thumb to smooth those out, make it look a little bit more presentable for the customer. And then with the last bit of heat you have, you can set it back on there, give it one more firm press, center of the heel to lateral, and then we'll peel it on off of there. We've got a nice clean flat spot that's going to stabilize the rear foot once that's weighted. It's going to be a much more stable insole because we have that flat rear foot post. So there's a done one for the right. We just need to move on and do the left.